This is continuing the early Spider-Man comic books reviewed and analyzed on this channel. There are spoilers here, so if you don't want to know what's going on, you might not want to watch this video. You could find this in the Marvel Omnibus, these issues, in the Marvel Masterworks and the Marvel Essentials. These two are kind of tough. Between issues 5 and issue 4, they have interpreted here anyway. Right about then was Spider-Man appearing in Strange Tales Annual 2 with the Human Torch. And this reviews Spider-Man Fantastic Four Annual 1, the backup story that had Spider-Man. And it was a reinterpretation, or maybe an early retcon in a way, of a Spider-Man story that was retold again, but just told a little bit differently. And this was done to expand the original story. I'll talk about that when I get to that part of this review. Anyway, Strange Tales Annual 2. This is not a Steve Ditko cover. Though it says, I think, that he inked it. There's no Spider-Man chest symbol here at all. This issue was written by Stan Lee, but it was drawn by Jack Kirby and inked by Steve Ditko. So at least the Spider-Man style is mostly correct due to the inking of Ditko. And this storyline, it's different because of Kirby doing the art. You know, Spider-Man's not his thing, in my opinion, and it never was. And that's, you know, this is another artist's realm, Spider-Man. And the story is Fantastic Four and the Human Torch meeting, really, to tell their first storyline together. And it's basically a pretty forgetful story because they're after a villain called the Fox. The art is pretty nice, though. Not as good, in my opinion, for Spider-Man because it's not Steve Ditko doing the pencils, but he is doing the inks here. This is the villain right here, the Fox. Johnny Storm is reading about Spider-Man. He's not impressed. He's pissed off, so he throws the paper. The Fox tricks people into thinking Spider-Man did a theft in an art gallery. Of course he didn't. And Spidey wants to meet the Human Torch. He knows where he lives to solve this caper and to prove his innocence. And of course what happens, especially back then, is the heroes fight. Human Torch thinks Spider-Man is guilty. I like this, using flame copies. Spider-Man really doesn't want to fight the Torch. And so they're fighting it out. And Spidey leaves. And it's kind of funny. He shows his inventiveness by making a silicon crystal type of webbing to help him fight the Human Torch. And the webbing design here looks a little different. The web shooter. And putting the mask on a little different here. Anyway, he uses that web thing here to trap Human Torch there. Check it out. And basically, Torch realizes, Spider-Man, let's work together. They would use that aspect of flames in the sky ever since. Even to today, Spider-Man writers will use the Human Torch, making a symbol for Spider-Man, calling him out, so like everyone in the city could see him. Nice use here. Check it out. Lighting his cigar by the torch. That's like a total Jack Kirby type thing he would do in terms of storytelling. And here, the Statue of Liberty, as I mentioned, from this point on, just like the sky, meeting at the Statue of Liberty would be one of their things as a team. So they're going after the Fox. They're working together, sort of reluctantly. And sure enough, they capture the Fox and work together. It's an okay story. But the real aspect of this issue, and it was 18 pages, the real aspect here was the character development of the Human Torch and Spider-Man and their relationship. That was the driving force, not the villain. Fantastic Four Annual 1 says here, Spider-Man waits within these pages. That's not Steve Ditko drawing. I think it's Jack Kirby and inked by Don Heck. It's a 6-page story. Written by Stan Lee, drawn by Jack Kirby, inked by Steve Ditko. So again, key, the Ditko inking really makes it Spider-Man worthy to be included in a volume like this. Here's what it says, and this is it. Stan Lee even mentions it here. Editor's note, this memorable incident, one of the high points in the comic magazine history, first occurred in The Amazing Spider-Man #1, March. It was merely a small 2-page episode which began one of Spider-Man's greatest adventures. However, we have received countless requests asking us to redo this famous encounter, but to devote more space to it, showing it in all its exciting detail, and so because you requested it. I like that, you know. So basically, it's a retcon in a way. They are reinterpreting an original 2-page story and expanding it, which is cool. And by the original creators, you know, so I have no issue with it. And it's a little different right off the bat. It goes here. I should have thought of this long ago. I can probably earn a fortune by joining forces with the Fantastic Four. They'll be real impressed when they see how easily I can break into their skyscraper headquarters. This was the issue that Spider-Man fought the Chameleon in the original comic later on. So he goes on here, shows his powers, tosses around the thing. I like how he put it in an electrical web net and he plugged it into the wall. He's taking on Mr. Fantastic with his web. Mr. Fantastic using paddles. The Invisible Girl trying to use some technology to sneak up on him. And the Human Torch confronting Spider-Man, which will continue the start of their relationship because they're both teenagers and they're both hot-headed and want to show each other up. I like that use of a web bat. And basically the Fantastic Four says, you know, why are you here? What's the real deal? And he says, you know, is it a job? I figure I'm worth your top salary. And he says, basically, you know, money goes to science. We don't do this for profit. And of course someone adds, probably Human Torch, I'm not sure who it says here. Besides, aren't you wanted by the police? This isn't Outlaws Anonymous. I might have known. You're just like the rest, ready to believe the worst of anyone. Okay. Keep me out of your group. Who needs you? I'll make you guys look like pikers. Wait, come back. And that is the real reason Spider-Man never joined the Fantastic Four. I like that. Short 6-page story. There's a battle, but also some character development. I like the reinterpretation. It was an expansion of the 2-page story where they first met. And it was just really well done. The Steve Ditko inking really, you know, gets Jack Kirby just right in terms of inking Spider-Man. You know, doesn't go wrong there. The next issue in this review will be Spider-Man issue 5. And it has Dr. Doom in it. Fantastic Four crossover, in a way. That'll be a future review. If you like this video, comment, subscribe, and talk to you later.